Hello class, I'm so glad that you can join me for our first virtual lesson. So we want to go ahead and solve by completing the square. So for all of our completing the square problems, it's just another way to factor. So we've been factoring before, but these are problems that can't be factored in the usual way. We want to make sure that our equation looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. And we can verify that our equation does in fact look like that. What we want to look at right now is what is the b value, because we're going to use that to complete the square. So this b value is the number in front of x. And I can see in this case that b is 14. So I'm going to use that fact here. I want to find out what b is so I can do this. So b is 14. I'm going to divide that by 2 and I get 7. Now we're going to take that 7 and square it. So 7 times 7, that's 49. So now we're going to use this 49 to complete the square. So I'm going to write my answer again for my equation. Y is equal to x squared plus 14x. But I'm going to stop right here. And now I'm going to add in that 49 from earlier. So we're going to add 49. Right, then we're going to go and write that minus 38 next. And then the same thing. I want to now subtract 49. So we're going to add it in on one side of the equation and subtract from the other side of the equation. Right, now that we have this, we want to go ahead and factor. So I'm going to make parentheses around those first 3 terms. So starting at x squared and ending at the 49. And I want to factor this. So that means I'm going to take a look at the last number, 49. And I want to make a list of everything that multiplies to 49. So 1 times 49, 7 times 7. We want to add to get the middle number, 14. We know 7 plus 7 is 14. So these are the 2 factors we're going to have, 7 and 7. So let's write that out. We should have y is equal to x plus 7, x plus 7. Alright, let's look at what we have out here. Negative 38 minus 49. So we can use our calculator for this. So I'm going to go to Desmos and I want to write out negative 38 minus 49. So we get negative 87 here. So we're going to use that in our answer. Negative 87. All I did was do this subtraction right here. Negative 38 minus 49 to get this number here. So mathematicians like to take shortcuts a lot. Instead of me writing x plus 7 times x plus 7, instead of me writing that 2 times, there's a shorter way to write that. We would say x plus 7 squared. This exponent of 2 means write it twice. So we just want to shorten it and write it once and then use an exponent to show us that we're doing it twice. And then we can just write that minus 87 at the end. All right, we're done. We have successfully completed the square. This is how our final answer should look. Our factored form written in parentheses with an exponent of 2 and then a constant at the end. So the first thing that I want to do is identify my b value. The b value is the number in front of x. So in this case, b equals 6. So I'm going to still be using this formula up at the top. I'm always going to be using that. So I want to do b over 2 squared. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, then 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 is going to be the number that I add and subtract from my equation. So let's take a look at that. Y is equal to x squared plus 6x. Then I want to add in the 9, and I'm going to subtract the 9. I'm always adding it in and then subtracting it. Whatever number I got over here, I'm going to add it and then subtract it. All right, let's factor it. So I'm going to put parentheses around those first 3 terms and factor it. So I'm looking at that last number, which is 9. So to factor this, I want to do 1 times 9, 3 times 3. I'm trying to add to get to the middle number, which is 6. I know 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. So these are our 2 factors. And we can write that out in parentheses. So x plus 3, x plus 3. Okay. Now we want to do this subtraction at the end. Negative 59 minus 9. So we can use our calculator for that. Negative 59 minus 9, that gets us negative 68. All right, so negative 68. Once again, there's a shorter way of writing this. We can just say that that is y is equal to x plus 3 squared. That exponent of 2 saves us a lot of writing. And then we just write the minus 68 at the end. And we're done. We have completed the square here. Let's try another example. We're looking at our b value. So notice here, this 12 is negative. For all my answers before, the b value has been positive. But if we have a minus sign in front of our b value, we want to say that it's negative. So b is negative 12 here. So negative 12 divided by 2, that's negative 6. And now negative 6 times negative 6, a negative times a negative is a positive. So we have 36. 36 is the number that I am adding and subtracting from my equation. So let's do that process again. Y is equal to x squared minus 12x. Now I'm going to add in that 36. We write our plus 11, and then we subtract the 36. We're always adding it in and then subtracting it out. Okay, now we can factor. So I'm going to put parentheses around my first 3 terms. I'm trying to multiply to get to 36. So 36 is 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 9, sorry, not 3 times 9, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and 6 times 6. All right, we want to add up to get negative 12. So keep in mind, we're trying to add to get to a negative number. So if I add 6 and 6 together, I get positive 12, but that's not right. I wanted a negative 12. So what if we just made both of those 6's negative? Now when they're added together, we get negative 12. So that's how I'm going to write my answer. Y is equal to x minus 6 times x minus 6. And we're saying it's minus 6 because we made those 6's negative. All right, let's do our subtraction over here. 11 minus 36. We can go to Desmos and do 11 minus 36. That is negative 25. So we are going to be subtracting 25 here. Once again, we want to shorten our answer, so we're going to write this as y is equal to x minus 6 squared minus 25. All right, for number 4, I'm pretty sure that you could try this on your own now. So give it a shot on your own. Keep in mind that that b value is going to be negative here, and then you can check back to the video to check your answer. So our b value in this case is going to be negative 2. So b is negative 2. So I'm going to take that, divide it by 2, I get negative 1. So we have negative 1 times negative 1, that is positive 1. So I'm going to be adding and subtracting positive 1 from my equation. Let's write this out. We have y is equal to x squared minus 2x, and then we're going to add in the 1. We write the negative 3, and we're going to subtract the 1. So we're always adding and subtracting. All right, now we want to factor. So what multiplies to get to 1? Well, that's pretty simple. 1 times 1 is 1. And if we add them, 1 plus 1 is positive 2. However, we wanted to get negative 2. So we just have to make those 1's negative to get negative 2. So now when we write our factored form, we're going to have x minus 1 times x minus 1. And off to the side here, negative 3 minus 1, negative 4. And then now we can simplify. So y is equal to x minus 1 squared. We shortened it. And we have that minus 4. We can't forget that. And there is our answer from completing the square. What I would like you guys to do next is skip to that last page, and I'd like you to practice question 9 and question 11 on your own. The rest of the problems, we'll take a look at those in a subsequent lesson.